So this session will explore cooperation in between social and tech organizations in Europe. I am Jeanne Bretécher. I'm the president of the Social Good Accelerator, which is a European association. And our mission is to help the acceleration of digital transition for social economy and to enlighten social tech models, that is to say, social economy tech models. And we have plenty of amazing ones. So it was an association, and we created the Social Good Accelerator in 2018, 3 years ago. So let's begin. Today I will have the pleasure to host this session and to welcome our speakers, Emmanuel Rivat, which is a research director and founder of agence Phare, Inés Sequeira, which is the founder of Casa do Impacto, an incubator from Santa Casa, which is a major philanthropy network in Portugal. And unfortunately, Anna couldn't make it today because she had personal issue. So I will manage to present Techsoup work and Techsoup Europe work. I'm not Anna, but I will do my best. So here we go. With a short introduction about Social Good Accelerator and its research community. As I said, we created the association 3 years ago. The project, in fact, was created a few months earlier at Web Summit. We went with a delegation in Lisbon, and because it's the city hosting the Web Summit for the past 3 or 4 years now, and we were on this little delegation of about 20 organizations, both philanthropy network, social entrepreneurs, and nonprofits, and we wanted to raise awareness on digital transition issues for social economy, as well as social tech models from social economy. And European agenda at Web Summit, which is the Davos of the geek, as they called it, did not integrate social economy, digital matters. So we went there to do better, and we ended by creating this association. The first work we wanted to do with all our members, you see there. We have about 70 members now, and all these organizations represented. So what we intended to strengthen was our hypothesis, because we were a lot of field operators among the members. So we had this field observations, but we wanted to get more scientific methodology to and a wider European a database to analyze better the potentiality of cooperation between social economy organizations, that is to say associations, foundations, but also social entrepreneurs and cooperatives. And tech organization, like basically startups or more important corporations. It was important to us to have this user point of view to analyze and to strengthen our missions. So that was the first work we launched. Our other pillars are public affairs, so we are making collective lobbying to raise awareness among the EU institutions, parliament, and the Commission about the field needs for digital transformation within social economy, and also to emphasize again social tech models. And we have also the community organizing part, which is our project-based part, and we have two to date. We have the Social Tech Academy and the Social Tech Atlas. I will present you later in the presentation. So Emmanuel, from the beginning, was our research director, and I will let him speak and present you the first chapter of our study.
Thank you so much, Jeanne. So indeed, I will introduce you to the key findings of our first research chapter. Maybe you can, Jeanne, show us the next slide. Jeanne, maybe you can pass. Yes, thank you so much. So why a research? Why a survey at the European scale about social economy and its tech environment? First, we of course, and I'm sure we're not the only ones here, we strongly believe that social economy and what we call in France économie sociale et solidaire, we use the word solidarity as well, as a way of showing that social economy can have democratic governance as a key. We believe it's a strong marker for the economy, because you have a lot of citizens who get involved, who look at social economy as a way of being as a source of engagement, and also because social economy, of course, can create economic and social value. So we believe a lot in that, and we also see that a lot of tech actors and a lot of tech companies have more and more show more interest into social impact topics. And I mean, if these different kind of actors would work with each other, of course, the value would be huge, especially the economic value. So we know that. That's the starting point of the study. Maybe Jeanne, on the next slide. But we also know, so I will keep on speaking because I don't see the next slide coming, but on the other hand, we also can assess, and we are not the only one, that there is a huge gap, a tech gap between the social economy sector and companies which are investing billions in new tech opportunities, such as, of course, big data or AI or robotics or anything else. So what we wanted to do is to understand through this study how these different actors can cooperate with each other, how the big tech entrepreneurs and tech companies can actually provide tech opportunity in the sector, and if so, through which models. The first thing we found, I think you went too far because it's the previous slide. The first, and of course it's. Thank you. So to make for this study, we used 218 organizations all over across. Most of them, 60% of them, having between 9 employees. So this is about small companies or small structures, small organizations. We found out first that through the answers of this sample that yes, social economy sector people want to with bigger companies, tech companies, but most importantly, they also want to grow. They want to improve their own skills in terms of tech innovation, right? So they just want they just don't want charity to also want to grow and develop skills. However, was actually not so convinced about the economic impact of tech cooperation and tech collaboration. The meaning is like even though they would gain, even though they would cooperate on tech matters or they would gain tech skills, their economic models would not be stronger. And then you can see here that only 1/3 of them said yes, having tech cooperation made our economic model bigger than and stronger than what it was in the past. So based on that, the second finding of the study, and maybe Jeanne, you can move to the next slide. Well, the main issue, of course, is that the economy, social economy sector, lack of knowledge regarding technology as such and current tech innovations. Like they have a lack of knowledge because they don't exactly know how they can proceed, how they can invest in the new technologies that are being provided on the market. But more importantly, it's not just about a tech issue, it's also, again, an economic issue. So they have different model of tech innovation. It's one thing to improve and to get tech solutions such as platforms or to start with big data and so on. But how do you sustain over time such technologies? How do you the funding for it? And that is one of the biggest the economic, social economy sector is facing. It's not just about tech things, it's also about the economic model of technology. And the third finding, so on the next slide, is that if you look at the different models of cooperation between the different actors, we explored, we examined like different models. The majority of the social economy organizations that we discussed with and we met, and so the findings of the questionnaire show that most of the business are exploited, meaning like most of the time can work for bigger companies, make alliances. More than 70% of them actually created such business alliances. So there was no gap between the demand and supply of. We also found out that everything that is about skill sponsorship, and skill sponsorship is nowadays like very much seen as the spearhead of cooperation between big companies and the social economy sector. We found out actually skill sponsorship is not satisfying because it does not enable transfer of skills between big companies and the social economy sector. Surely, like they can cooperate for a couple of months about tech issues through skills sponsorship, but in the end, the social economy sector and organizations don't have enhanced skills about such tech topics. And last but not the least, we found out that actually collaborative models of cooperation based on open data or free software were actually the field of cooperation where there's the most like potential, in the sense like amongst the people we interviewed and we met, 1/3 of them said they were already part of such initiatives like open data and free software, but almost 22% wanted to be part of such movements and in dynamics and initiatives, but didn't know how to do so. And another 20% had doubts about it. So they didn't know whether or not they wanted to go for it. But this shows that actually there was if we want to foster the access to technology for the social economy sector, it would not be or skill sponsorship, but rather through these collaborative models, more horizontal and more inclusive. Next slide. First research has really us to pin down to frame a few key learnings and therefore a few recommendations. The first the opportunity to share such findings and such recommendations to the European Commission for DG of the European Commission. The first thing that we spoke about was the fact that the social economy sector and organizations have to be recognized and acknowledged as fully fledged innovative actors, especially in the tech field, especially because they want to improve their own skills. The second message was that we need to encourage more and more skills sharing amongst social economy organizations, but also between tech organizations and the social economy sector, so that we go beyond this charity approach and we really sustain and foster the social economy ecosystem itself. The third thing that we were putting forward was that we need to encourage more cooperation, of course, especially through collaborative models and open data or free software, and things that will be accessible to social economy. We won't be able to maybe to create the next Facebook or the next Google, or to be at the improve the average skills for the ecosystem itself. Fourth priority, we also think that it's important to push for the greater, more important measuring of the impact of technology. And last but not the least, that of course the public sector and local authorities have to encourage and finance more tech innovation, specifically dedicated to the social economy sector. Next slide, please. Yes. What we can get from this study? What can we keep? I mean, the message and how we want to go forward about such topic is that surely the social economy sector has to have greater access to technology, to tech skills, to better funding, but also that public authorities and the European Union as such should focus more and more about new ecosystems of value creation. We can see nowadays that there are these new ways of creating social value and economic value. If you look at Wikipedia about knowledge, or if you look at OpenStreetMap when it comes to like mapping of new way of mapping things. If you look at Open Food Facts, if you look at more like another sector, there are more and more models where you have actually citizens creating. You have the social economy sector is operating platforms that enables citizens to create social value or create some data. Ecosystems where entrepreneurs can then use such data and use such social value to create economic value. And in such ecosystems, of course, we can expect the public sector and public authorities to support and find can grow. So we really think that based on this first research, that the way to go and the way to think about it is really to focus on these new ecosystems that would be generated and pushed by the economic sector, social economic sector. And Jeanne, I give you the mic.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. I will just shut your. You did. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. It looks like you have a connection problem because there's a lag in between my slides and your intervention, and sometimes the sound is not quite well. Okay. The technology is always payable. So I will now try to explain how Techsoup Europe is an inspiring model for cooperation in between social economy organizations and tech organization. I will do far less better than Anna, but I will manage to do my best. Techsoup Europe is the European agency for Techsoup, which is a movement born in the Silicon Valley. It's a philanthropic movement, in fact, and the model is to connect tech corporation and their philanthropy programs and non-profits, basically, with a one desk operation association in every country, so that non-profit can access tools and software, but also a bit of hardware with accessible costs. So, for example, at Social Good Accelerator, we are a member of the French desk of Techsoup Europe, and we have access to discounts for tech solutions. So that's a way they address the digital gap for social economy organizations, but they are also proposing trainings and European programs. So they are connecting more than 90 corporate and foundation from the tech sector to more than 35,000, no, it's more, sorry, sorry, I can't read today, I'm tired, but you have the figure here. So they are connecting a lot of nonprofits in Europe with the tech solutions. But basically, it's a tech philanthropy model. It's pretty much inspired by Salesforce tech philanthropy model, which is known as a 1% pledge. 1% for giving money, 1% giving time, and 1% giving products. They are known as a pretty much committed company for tech transition for the nonprofits. And they are one of the Techsoup member. So this is illustrating basically the Silicon Valley's philanthropy model. The question is that this model we want in Europe, or do we invent something else based on more open source, open data tools? And this is an open question. We would be very interested to have your insights about it. Just to show you the map of the Techsoup Europe desks in all the European countries. So they have 24, and basically it's pre-existing nonprofits that are willing to be on the desk of Techsoup Europe in Belgium here, because we're based in Belgium. It's Socialware. In France, it's ADB Solidatech. And they are all also conducting collective actions and collective research, as we do at Social Good Accelerator. This is an example of the one of the Erasmus Plus project they are conducting with some of the European desks, and they are proposing digital literacy tools and contents for European nonprofits, which is pretty useful. For your information, we ourselves just deposited an Erasmus Plus project, so this is always a great way to create digital commons for social economy. And I would like to emphasize one of our last projects. We present the demo just before this session. The Social Tech Atlas is an open database. We managed to aggregate several ones already existing and to update them. To create tools for social economy organization, thanks to no-code tools such as Visity for the map or Glide for the mobile app. And we will share the links in the chat very soon. We used Techsoup database also to aggregate some of the data. Just to enhance the importance to cooperate and to collaborate in between our various initiatives. So that's it for the tech support. I'm sorry that Anna couldn't make it herself, but maybe we can ask her to participate to one of our Social Good Academy webinar the next month to present text better than I did. And now I would like to ask Nuno to present some of Portuguese example. Ines couldn't make it either. We are doomed today. But Nuno will do that perfectly because he is from Casa do Impacto. So no problem. Your turn, Nuno. We managed to put your presentation in hour, so do not hesitate to tell me to go to the next slide.
Doesn't work? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. Because I think you mute me before, so I couldn't unmute myself. So hi everyone, I'm Nuno. Ines had some problems to connect, so we're sorry for this, but we tried to solve it in the last hour. But anyway, so I'm Nuno. I work with Ines, Casa do Impacto director. So I'm responsible for the communication, incubation, and acceleration programs at this social innovation hub powered by Santa Casa, one of the oldest foundations in Europe, with great social role in all the social problems in the city of Lisbon. We actually substitute the role of the government and the city hall for all the social problems in the city of Lisbon. So for the past 11 years, actually, Santa Casa started to work with social entrepreneurs. And in the last 2 years, developed Casa do Impacto, and that's what I'm talking about today. So thank you very much, Jeanne and team, for having us here. And in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to show how Casa do Impacto is mixing social good with tech to create value. So if you want to just, okay, thank you. So as I said, we opened in October 18, and Casa do Impacto is now growing, still growing. We are a space where entrepreneurs, third sector, institutions, universities, companies, accelerators, investors, and municipalities can converge and through a common goal that is impact. We create the right conditions for collaboration and develop social impact projects within the city of Lisbon and actually Portugal. We believe we are a true one-stop shop for impact entrepreneurs, where they can find everything they need to grow and to foster innovation and social impact. If you can change the slide, please. We have a couple of examples of digital transformation and how tech can actually help us to be more innovative in Santa Casa and in tackling social problems. We have like for big organizations as Santa Casa, sometimes we are very reluctant to change, and so we adopt a couple of digital solutions with our startups in order to do it quite easily. So one of the examples is Academy of Code Academy, or Code for All, I believe is the name in English. They transforming people's lives through learning learning how to code their students, to manage to help their students to learn how to code, and to have a better way to find jobs that are needed in the society. Some Santa Casa's beneficiaries have access to their coding bootcamps, and for the past 2 years, for every three months, we engage Santa Casa beneficiaries in these coding bootcamps in order for them to try to have different inspirations and aspirations to grow and succeed. Also, 55 Plus is one of our startups that aims to prevent loneliness and inactivity for all of those over 55 years old of age, providing them with an active life through the provision of quality and trustworthy services in their neighborhoods. And some of our beneficiaries from Santa Casa also use this platform to continue their works and their areas of expertise. So this is one of 2 examples from our startups that are working with us and with Santa Casa in order to bring innovation for our services and for our work in the field as Santa Casa. So if you can change, please. Also, we have a couple of programs at Casa do Impacto that are tackling these topics. So one of them is Santa Casa Challenge, is a contest that promotes innovative and technological solutions that can originate feasible apps or devices. This year, winners, we just finished this program this year, is Wholly by Navarro, and this is one startup that is targeting mental health issues, and they are bringing technology into it. So we are working with Navarro in order to make a good product and to address this very urgent problem that growed a lot with the pandemic. That is the mental health issues. Also, we have another programs like and this Santa Casa Challenge is also linked with the SDGs. So every year we address 1 or 2 SDGs in order to find solutions to tackle this sustainable development goal. So every year we change the SDG. This year was linked with health because we figure, okay, we are still struggling with the pandemic. So this is actually the things that we need the most. So also we have Rise for Impact. This is our acceleration program, and it's aimed for projects in development and validation phase of the idea. So very early stage startups that in this program they try to improve their product or service and their business model. Every startup that is participating in this acceleration program needs actually to be linked with the SDGs also. So everything we do at Casa do Impacto is linked with the Sustainable Development Goals, and this is also one case. Over the years, more and more applications, we receive more and more applications for this program from tech-based startups. Some examples are the Impact Market. It's linked with the UBI, Mentora Health, also linked with health and tech for health tech solution. Rural Move is a Portuguese startup that is helping a lot of families to move from big cities to rural cities in the country, and they are addressing a very cool topic right now, because also because of the pandemic, a lot of people are moving from the big cities to the interior of the country, for the rural part of the country, and they are helping companies to address this change and to with technology. And also the Equal Food is one of is the winner of the last edition, and they are targeting food waste management with an app, and connecting providers and normal people and consumers with providers that are they are struggling to sell all the products that are going to the garbage. Also, we have a philanthropic fund called Plus, that is our investment program that has a budget of 500K per year to test new ideas with potential and for social and environmental impact. And we select more or less 10 startups each year. For the last year, we have six are tech based. So we are addressing this quite well also in this program. Can you change, please? So we have other projects related with Santa Casa, and we are partners with Smart Open Lisboa. It's one of the open innovation programs more interesting in Portugal. It's powered by the City Hall, and basically this program links some of the most relevant players in residential and commercial real estate sector to startups to implement innovative solutions in the city of Lisbon. They address different topics, not only real estate, they also mobility, also one linked with the pandemic, so solutions for elderly in the pandemic. And every year we tend to participate in this program, powered also by Beta I, one of the incubators in Lisbon. Also, one of the things that came from this program was a pilot that we are developing right now at Santa Casa, that is house, is one of the projects of this initiative, as I said, with the mission to improve the quality of life of the elderly population so that they can be more independent for as long as possible. They develop a solution that we are trying to implement at Santa Casa, that measures electricity usage in the elderly person's home, fusing with data from other sensors, and building a pattern of daily behavior. So with this, we can identify unusual activities and trends and notify the family in case of abnormal activity. So this is a great tool for us, Santa Casa, to be more close to our patients and our beneficiaries in a certain way, and to guarantee that everything is normal and they can continue to live their lives independent without us to interfere, just using technology and to be assured that they are good and safe. Can you change, please? Also, one of the things that we liked most to develop last year was a Calm Online, in partnership with a great movement here in Portugal called Tech for COVID. And basically, when the pandemic broke out, a lot of social entrepreneurs and startups were basically the fastest entities to react and transform and trying to bring solutions for the needs of the society. And Tech for COVID is a movement created in just a few days in the beginning of the first days of lockdown here in Portugal, where the technological community of over 5,000 people, engineers and scientists, marketeers, sales professionals, try to fight COVID with new solutions. They actually combo a lot of startups, a lot of solutions, technological solutions to provide help to the hospitals for the communities in need. So was a great new movement, and Casa do Impacto made part of it by creating a platform called Acalma Online. Acalma is actually it's a Portuguese word for be calm online. And in the earliest of April, we started a platform offering psychological consultants by video, with the aim to help Portuguese population to deal with the psychological consequences of the pandemic and the lockdown. We had great experience. We had more than 100 psychologists, volunteers in the platform, over 1,000 consult sessions at the platform in just 2.5 months. So it was great to have this, and this was a big example of how tech and this kind of combinations can actually help to create social value. And I believe that's it. I think that this is the last slide. So welcome to the age of social innovation. We truly believe it's time to change, and we are trying to do it by enhancing and using Casa do Impacto to provide social change. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nuno. So this is the time, I believe, for a short sum up on this first part, or two examples, even if Anna wasn't there, was made to illustrate our study enlightenments. First one, Techsoup Europe is using more tech philanthropy, but also community organizing in Europe to create digital commons. And the incubation and acceleration part represented by Casa do Impacto is also very important. What our study raised was the lack of places, digital ones or physical ones, to enable the meeting of the two worlds, social economy and tech economy. In Portugal, maybe in Lisbon especially, it's maybe easier because the two ecosystems are quite close and discussing well. Maybe thanks to Web Summit, I don't know. You can you can share your insight. But
yeah, we actually are pretty close. For instance, for the Casa do Impacto creation, Startup Lisboa and Startup Portugal are one of the biggest partners of Casa do Impacto. So we believe we need to do this together. And I think actually the Web Summit contributed a lot for this stage actually.
And that is where we are born. So yeah, so it was great to hear from these field examples. Clearly, we are now at a turning point for social economy and also for the digital transition of European community. So now we would like to hear your insights about this first part before going further with our next step. We tried to build on these learnings to write our policy paper. I will share the link in the chat. We deposit our policy paper about digital transition for social economy last April, responding to the consultation of the European Commission. And we have several ideas to accelerate the digital transformation of social economy in Europe, and also to enlighten social tech models, because we have amazing social tech models within social economy, and we have to scale them up. So yeah, maybe if you have insight to share on this first part before letting Emmanuel present the second chapter of our research work. No questions or no remarks to share to date? Okay. So, Emmanuel, it's your turn. How would we go further with our research work to enlighten the potentiality of social economy within digital transition? And that is what Emmanuel will explain to you.
Thank you, Jeanne. Based on the first research, one of the main findings, and academic research is also very clear about that, is that the social economy sector is sometimes too much focusing on scaling as such. Either it's about scaling up, scaling out, or scaling across solutions. The problem is that the social economy sector would be focusing on projects, project-based initiatives, and try to push them, of course, push them up. But by focusing only on projects, then we may miss the systemic understanding of what kind of leverage do we have as a movement, as the social economy movement in Europe. So the key thing is, how do we shift from a just project-based approach looking for scaling opportunities to a more systemic collaborative approach, which is building up more economic and social value, better economic and social value across countries and across different fields, of course, at the same time. And I think this is what is key nowadays in this 21st century. So for that reason, based on the first research we made that I introduced previously, one of the key findings was that between different models of cooperation, whether it's about business or about skills and sponsorship, one of the key new way of collaborating since 10, 15 years is more about what we could call contributory economy. It's based on the fact that some citizens can create value like data or things like that, for example, through Wikipedia. And Wikipedia can be useful to many, many different organizations. It can contribute to education of people. It can contribute to also sometimes knowledge diffusion and other things that are very fruitful for the whole economy. And such initiatives, such as Wikipedia, are yet not very well known or well studied. What is the systemic impact of Wikipedia nowadays? We don't know. And we believe that this contributes to a lack of visibility and a lack of understanding of what is a true contribution of social economy to the economy as a whole. So that's why we want to go deeper into that topic. That's why we want to investigate more the new models of citizen and contributory economy in Europe. And for example, there are a lot of studies made about open data. We know it creates a lot of economic value in Europe, billions, to cut it short. But how about social economy? What is the difference that social economy is making about open data or about open content or about these collaborative models? So this is why we want to go further on the next slide. Yes. What we want to investigate in the coming month is how social economy structures can manage and operate ecosystems based on open data. We believe that in the tech debate nowadays, sure, we could focus on AI, we could focus on robotics, we could focus on many, many, many things. But these technologies are not that a bit without the reach of the social economy sector. They are a bit hard to get. We believe that open data would be really the ground on which the social economy sector can build really good initiatives and systemic value. So of course, if you want to build a research, and we are willing to do so across Europe, we had to pick one case study, one example that would be relevant for goals, and that would enable us to investigate to what extent and how social and economic values can be created together. So far, we picked the case of OpenStreetMap. So this is a contributive platform that is powered by a social economy structure. It's a social organization, and on which like a lot of citizens, but also business structures and so on, can either contribute to existing maps by updating the data on them, or they can also generate and create their own maps about different topics, whether it's about transportation or energy or so on. What is important is like it's based on open data sources, like sources and systems, and it's also free, of course. It's part of the free movement. And mapping can be used in very, very different sectors, from the media, for example, when journalists want to publish articles, they would use maps, to transportation. When you take the train, you'd have a map in your wagon where it says where you are during your journey. So it has wide applications. And we would like to investigate this case study because we could show that how indeed such collaborative model, OpenStreetMap, contribute and create economic value. And of course, we started to speak with people from OpenStreetMap to understand better if we are going in the right direction with this research topic, and if really like there is potential for interesting findings that could inspire public policy at a European scale. Here you have two quotes from two different people working with OpenStreetMap. The first one, as you see, epitomizes the fact that OpenStreetMap might be used by a lot of big companies because each of them is processing geographical data when they want to put information on the map, or they want to identify and map their customers, for example. And most of the companies, at least in France, from the CAC 40, so the on stock market, are using or probably are using OpenStreetMap, which would be unbelievable. I mean, if we are able to demonstrate how a social economic structure powering OpenStreetMap is generating a lot of economic value for big companies, then we would be great incentives for public authorities and public funding to support and help such social economy initiatives, right? Because the impact is systemic. And more or less, you can see through the second quote that it's not just about big companies, it's more than that. The economic potential impact of OpenStreetMap is also, OpenStreetMap can also have an impact on small startups or new startups which are using the data or the maps of OpenStreetMap, and who understood and they're understanding that the more they actually update the data of OpenStreetMap, the more their own platforms and their own applications will have value as well, because the data will be quality data. So it's interesting because it creates a virtuous economic system where citizens and the social economy power and generate these models, collaborative models. And then you have entrepreneurs coming. Sure, they extract some value from such citizen initiatives, but they would also eventually contribute to it as well. And then we can have potentially some very interesting impacts out of that. So as you see, this topic, I mean, if you compare this topic research with the first one, in terms of I'd say that questions, in terms of the approach is more systemic. The approach would be more powerful if we get some findings in economic. I mean, in terms of if we are able to demonstrate how much economic value and how much social value is generated by OpenStreetMap, it would shed light on such models and how to support them. So we really want basically to focus on these models, collaborative models, to support them and to make them shine, I would say, in the social economy sky of Europe. And For that, we need to understand better how entrepreneurs and big companies are using such models, and what is at stake. Honestly, like, is it so easy, or are there complications? Are we now part of the ideal picture of the situation, or actually, is it really working? So how we want to proceed in an innovative way for this second study. We found out through the first study that using a questionnaire on a European scale is not that easy. It's very time consuming to collect data from all over Europe in different countries, and in the end to have, I would say, a balanced sample of organizations through which you will be able to say, okay, this is the trend, this is the trend. So we want to be, on the one hand, more humble, and on the other hand, more ambitious. We want to be more humble because we want to focus really on qualitative analysis for the study. We want to go country per country, sector by sector. We want to interview 40 people to understand how do they use OpenStreetMap? What are the technical obstacles that they face, whether they are technical, human, legal obstacles. To give you a small example, OpenStreetMap is collaborating with Enedis in France, which is one of the biggest energy company in France. And Enedis is interested by OpenStreetMap. So of course, I mean, they are interested because they will be able to map a lot of equipments that they would have all over the country. And through that, they can make a lot of money. Surely, but OpenStreetMap is not functioning as a normal provider. They will not just provide, they cannot guarantee they will provide quality map. So there was a lot of discussion between Enedis and OpenStreetMap about the partnership and what is expected from this social economy approach that is not doing things business as usual, right? So we want to document that. We want to highlight better what are the risks, what are the, but also what are the solutions, and how eventually Enedis is willing to cooperate with OpenStreetMap. So that's the first chapter of the study, the first methodological aspect, very qualitative. We want to be also more ambitious than in the first research because we also want to provide figures, a macroeconomic analysis of the economic value of OpenStreetMap in Europe. We want to, and we hope to demonstrate that OpenStreetMap is generating billions of euros in Europe to show for once that the social economy sector is not just about small projects, again, but the social economy sector is also able to generate solutions, platforms that generate billions for the rest of the economy. And by doing so, we hope to convince decision makers to pour more money into such innovation patterns and such collaborative models. So I will not be the one doing the macroeconomic analysis. We have a specialist who can do that. But when we will meet the 40 organizations, so the big companies and entrepreneurs, we will ask them to what extent their business their revenue is depending on OpenStreetMap and for which aspects. And by doing so, we will collect very qualitative data through which we'll be able to make more general statements about such macroeconomic value. And we really, really hope to make a difference because usually such macroeconomic studies are done about open data in general, but not about how social economy is operating open data in a collaborative way. I will be brief about that. So the key, of course, you understood, the key thing is to show how OpenStreetMap is useful across different countries, across different sectors, transportation, energy, many more. And through that, we want, of course, to produce a report and policy recommendations for the European Commission and for national governments. We will, of course, present such results to the European Commission in Brussels and several directorates general, innovation, research, and market. Like for the first study, we had the pleasure and opportunity to do so. And we believe it's important because from the ground, then we're able to share such findings. To put it in a nutshell, we wish to start the study in July. The latest, we would like to start in September. Of course, with some literature review, we need to be sure during the state of the art about such topic that we are contributing to the state of knowledge and so that we also can create and produce like relevant questions for such topics and study. Then we proceed with the qualitative interviews, and further on with the macroeconomic analysis. So far, we expect to deliver the report March 2022 and present it to the press, of course, to relevant tech hubs, because of course it's about, we want to give more visibility and audience to social economy also in tech hubs. And of course, we want to share such results and new preconizations, new guidelines for public policy at the same time in different countries. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. So yeah, just to sum up again things, we are quite ambitious with this second chapter of our research program. We are basically a social economy activist organization. So we have strong assumptions, and the past few months we managed to write a collective policy paper. I shared the link in the chat. So we heard a lot of European experts. Among them, I want to quote Michel Bowens, who is one of the funding fathers of collaborative economic thinking. He's a founder of the Peer-to-Peer Foundation. Most of you should know him, and he already thought about these ecosystems, generative ecosystem values and functioning. Sorry, and we now want to have strong data and proof of the economic value that social economy can bring to European economy, as well as social and environmental value. So this is pretty important. This study at this turning point for social economy, because within social economy we have pretty interesting model and sustainable models that should be enlightened more, and proving they are creating economic value is a very convincing way to enlighten them, especially for the EU institutions. So maybe it's again the time to share insights if you have any remarks. But then I can illustrate with one of our projects how we can manage open data and make it useful for social economy.
Maybe Jeanne, if the participants, if you participants, you have other ideas about other collaborative models that we should maybe investigate through this second chapter of our research, because beyond OpenStreetMap, there are different models. About knowledge, you have Wikipedia. About food, you have OpenStreet Facts. So if you have any idea or any suggestions, please let us know. That would be very, very fruitful.
No remarks coming. So we are a bit earlier regarding the original timeline, because Anna was not among us. But maybe to conclude, I will share the new project we just presented earlier in the morning, which is called Social Tech Atlas. So I'm gonna share my screen again. Okay, so we are convinced that one way social economy can be empowered is thanks to open data. We saw with OpenStreetMap examples, but also Open Food Facts, which is basically a citizen database on food products, and a really disruptive innovation for the food industry, especially in Europe. So developing open data, we can manage to create new value for a new economic model for social economy and empower the whole sector. But to do that, the important thing is to share data. It's an habit we all have to get. It's skills we have to integrate to our own organization. And with the Social Tech Atlas, we intended to create a database useful for the whole social economy, searching for digital transition tools or solutions or trainings, but also to make a proof of concept demonstration with an open data project. We managed to aggregate open data available on the web. Sometimes we had all build open data sets, for example, with digital social innovation for EU, which was a big and very pioneer program funded by the European institution for 3 years. And Berbad WAG in the Netherlands and Nesta Foundation in the UK. So they managed to open entirely their data, their program data, and we were able to update it and to reuse it. So there's also circular economy in the data field. But some of the times the data were not open, so we made scrapping and we managed to eliminate all the personal data to be GDPR compliant. But thanks to this month of hard work and collective work, we managed to create this first database and to plug no-code solutions, no-code tools to offer pretty useful tool for social economy organization with a web browser, also a mobile app, and a map, geographic map, and you will recognize OpenStreetMap mentioned below. For this map, we collaborated with Visity, and Visity is one of the examples that Emmanuel talked about. It's a small startup, and they are using OpenStreetMap database, basically, to propose no-code integration for cooperation, for businesses. And this is a pretty interesting model, again, because if you use Visity tools, you do not have to code. You just have to pretty much integrate database into a map. And you're also generating new data for OpenStreetMap. So you are contributing while extracting the data. And this is basically the collaborative economy ecosystem that Michel Bowens is enlightening in his models with his work and in his books, which inspired us for the second chapter of our research. So you have this open data work. Sometimes it's a citizen work. You have an innovation grape, to quote Schumpeter, made of startups and big corporations using the data and also generating new data for the benefit of the digital common. And all this is managed and regulated by non-profits. And that is the ecosystem we want to enlighten. It's a specific social economy model. And we think European institutions should fund more this kind of initiatives, and we have to scale up, Emmanuel, this kind of models. So if you do not have any more remarks or questions, we will maybe end this session and free you for lunch. Before that, we will share into the chat maybe your contact details for you to exchange further, or to ask for the presentation if you're interested in. Thank you to all for your participation, and thanks to our speakers for enlightening us all with the study learnings and the field learnings.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
very
very
much.
much.
Thank you, and have a nice Mannheim summit. Again, a turning point for social economy. So let's scale up the entire sector for the European benefits. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.